Here's a list of things I like about the new Gorillaz album, The Rollout. With Gorillaz essentially being a vessel for Damon Albarn to collaborate with unlikely musicians, the idea of dropping singles as episodes over the month and then bundling them up into a box set seems like a neat way to rock around the clock. Here's a list of things I'm not as keen on about the new Gorillaz album. Everything else. Listen, I have to preface this with the simple disclaimer that I don't think I'm interested in what Gorillaz have to say anymore. I stand by the statements that Plastic Beach is one of the most beautiful creations of the 2010s, and that The Fall is actually kinda neat. But since their 7-year comeback Humans, I've found myself losing grip of any real interest in their musical ambitions, other than to see what Six Lack and Elton John could possibly sound like on the same joint. As a set of musical experiments, I'm sure there's a lot of meat to sink your teeth into, but the real joy of it all feels expired to me. And worse yet, at the risk of getting my ass whooped with a knotted dishcloth, I don't actually think Song Machine has any real stunners. It feels like an opportunity to craft out differently styled instrumentals to carry the guest stars, the way that the song with Peter Hook sounds like an old New Order track, and the way that the song with Beck gives him plenty of space on the verses to be tacky. Despite this, I really feel like as bloated as Humans was, it gave each guest star a chance to have their moment, whereas Song Machine literally feels all slopped into a dripping greasy bag that smells like secondhand disco shoes and the pungent aroma of decaying bean sprouts. Maybe the magic just can't get to me anymore. Maybe it was a Santa Claus moment for me. The day we grow up and hear 2D's voice not as 2D, but the Park Life guy on the other end of a McDonald's drive-thru speaker. Most people's primary exposure to a-cappella arrangements, song compositions consisting entirely of the voice, is either pitch perfect or pentatonics. This is a section of the genre that I'd like to call the Facebook mum tier, and believe me, that's nothing against Facebook mums. I'd like to think of the Rick the Lie channel as a strictly pro-Facebook mum media outlet. But whether you're a Facebook mum or not, I'd love you to feast your ears upon this take on a-cappella music that will stretch your mind like taffy and dodge your expectations like weekly rent payments. Lyra Pramuk's Fountain is a bright, luminous world crafted with the voice and the voice only. And in a way, it sort of reminds me of this mural created entirely from Snoop Dogg's face. Okay, so it's not all natural. There are electronic manipulations, but it still feels hauntingly solipsistic. It's crisp, it's loud, it's blinding, with so many strong harmonies and a polyphonic texture that ensures nearly every gap in the rhythm is filled. It's music that feels like the equivalent of trying to stare into the sun. If you find the more pop-leaning tracks at the start already overwhelming, just wait till you reach the track Zeno, which brushes off harmony altogether and leaves you with a dissonant catacomb of voices crying out to you. Yucky yuck yuck, it gives me the shivers, and buddy, do I love that. Mirror shoots for something far less oppressive then. It's more spacious but still somewhat purgatorial, like a desert coated with a sky that looks like the cover of the 2019 Pulse Demon vinyl reissue. Or sequins. Fountain isn't just a particular kind of experiment, it's a series of different ones, and they're all so engaging, be it a couple of tracks that simulate a tormenting mental entrapment, or maybe the bookends of the album that sound more like a choir of glowworms opening up a Nintendo DS for the first time. Whatever it is, Fountain is a lot of fun to splash in. It's not just for the art heads too, goddamn, I'd probably even recommend it to a Facebook mum. 2 years ago, the Auckland band Wax Chattels dropped their self-titled debut, which I thought was so dynamite that I still wear it sometimes. This trio specialise in what they call guitarless guitar music, a poke at the fact that while they dish out gutsy hardcore track after gutsy hardcore track, none of it involves a lead guitar. Instead, it's sculpted with the scrapes and beeps of keyboard, bass, and a two-piece drum kit. And the only thing missing is you! Why are you not listening to this yet? Shame on you, bozo! Wax Chattels' music is marvellously machine-like, the way that their riffs feel like a gizmo starting and stopping, and their drums take on rhythmic patterns that might otherwise be suited to Korg machines instead. The sounds will imitate the likeness of barcode scanners, dial-up modems, microwave ovens, as if it were a means to reappropriate the sounds of the modern era, but anger and frustration are timeless, universal emotions. CLOT is an orchestrated attack, seething and sputtering like a pissed-off vat of chip oil. The chorus of Cede is the phrase "You don't know who I am," angrily yelled in Taiwanese Hokkien, which extends to the rest of the album's themes influenced by the diaspora of being a first-generation immigrant in Auckland. No Ties is one such song, but would I have been able to tell if I hadn't read the Bandcamp description? Probably not. What I hear first of all is delicious noise textures and a lot of screaming, and frankly, even if that's all the album had to offer, that'd still be pretty fucking sick.
Right back in the trap, these niggas bringing out the old me. I'm trying to live in 93 to see the old me.
The gangster meets blogger buzz of the Freddie Gibbs experience can be summed up by two different songs and their characteristics. one being Rob Me and its smooth shredding flows that sound like a carrot through a juicer.
The liquor got me lurking and looking for a lame nigga to set up for my next league. In the Chevy, about to roll up the stress with the tech, and what he got on his neck got him a death wish.
And the other one being Fucking Up the Count, that sports production that transcends region, but has a vocal presence that cunningly nods to those who influence him.
Straight ball, $50,000 in a nigga couch. And never fucking up the count.
But each new project seems to reveal a new side of Freddie Gibbs, and I think the slow-burning, soulfully swaying, side-to-side, reflective new album Alfredo, where he raps over beats by The Alchemist, might be his most unforeseen leap yet, unless you listened to Fetty last year, of course. The Alchemist has never been my personal favourite when it comes to hip-hop beats. His tendency is to leave old, slow soul samples running for what seems like ages, with the drum beat having less decision over the rhythm than the other tonal elements of the beat, like piano or electric guitar. I respect that approach, but the result often feels like the slow lactic burn in the muscles as you stretch after a long nap. This combined with Alfred's bouncy charisma seems like a tough pairing, but once I heard it all snap into place, I was on board faster than you can say bitch I would never. Alfredo is smooth like it's slurping actual Alfredo. Culture evolves so quickly that it makes it easier to reflect on a 5-year-old project as if it was 50 years old. On Something to Rap About, Freddie ponders artistic evolution over one of the most gorgeous instrumentals I've ever heard, and so I think it's cleverly fitting that Tyler the Creator is invited along for a sleepover too. Elsewhere, Benny the Butcher offers his 6 millionth verse of the year, and it's still tough as muscle shells, and On God Is Perfect, Freddie sputters out a hook that sounds like 7 ballpoint pen clicks over what sounds like the credits theme to a game on armorgames.com.
Yeah. Microphone check, 1, 2, mic checker. Still back that blood out of Sabana, I pray to Mecca.
Atmospherically, Alfredo is one of the most alluring rap records of the year, but if you're already a fan of Freddie Gibbs, you didn't need me to tell you again.